Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you've been paying even a little bit of attention to the global auto scene lately, you know the electric vehicle landscape is shifting, literally at lightning speed. And the absolute epicenter of that earthquake? It's Asia. But honestly, trying to make sense of the sheer volume of new models, the different battery sizes, the crazy charging speeds coming out of places like China, Japan, South Korea, and India, well, it can feel totally overwhelming. So today, we're going to break down this massive, complex 2026 Asian EV market into a relatable, easy-to-digest guide. We are completely skipping the boring textbook spec sheet approach today. Instead, we're going to group these incredible cars by actual lifestyles and buyer personas to help you find your perfect match. Let's get right into it. So, here is our game plan for today. We've got 5 main areas to hit: the Asian EV boom, budget and city driving, tech, luxury, and speed, the reliable all-rounders, and finally, we'll wrap it up with the final verdict.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Asian EV boom.
So why exactly is this region just completely dominating the global electric vehicle space right now? I mean, Asia isn't just participating. They are the largest EV market in the world, with China really leading the charge. A massive reason for this dominance comes down to brands like BYD. They have somehow mastered this perfect combination of affordability and cutting-edge battery technology. And here's the secret sauce. BYD actually manufactures their own batteries, which gives them a massive structural advantage over the competition. Meanwhile, if you look across Southeast Asia, jumping into an EV isn't just some green initiative anymore, it's an economic necessity. Rapidly rising fuel prices are pushing everyday drivers toward electric alternatives way faster than anyone really predicted. Okay, but here is what is truly mind-bending. 1,000. This number right here is the new frontier. We are currently seeing the emergence of ultra-long-range EVs from Chinese brands, boasting over 1,000 kilometers of range on a single charge. Just let that sink in for a second. That completely shatters the old concept of range anxiety. It literally changes the entire equation for what an electric car can actually pull off on a massive road trip.
Moving right along to Section 2, budget and city driving.
Now, if your daily reality involves endless bumper-to-bumper city traffic, or if you're working with a really strict budget, these are the cars you absolutely need to know about. Take India's Tata Nexon EV, for example. You get up to 465 kilometers of range, plus an incredibly rock-solid service network in India. It's basically the ultimate choice for first-time buyers who need a super reliable daily commuter that isn't going to break the bank. But then flip the script to the Willing Air EV. This thing is an ultra-budget, highly compact little vehicle with about 300 kilometers of range. Sure, it has limited fast charging and pretty basic features, but it is insanely cheap and impossibly easy to park. If you literally only drive in dense city grids, it's a total game changer. But wait, what if you want a budget car that's actually, fun to drive? Enter the MG4 Electric. This is kind of the holy grail middle ground for young buyers. It gives you a really impressive 450 to 520 kilometers of range, pulling from a 51 to 64 kilowatt-hour battery. But the real magic here? The rear-wheel drive platform. It gives you that zippy, dynamic handling usually reserved for much, much more expensive cars, all while keeping the price tag surprisingly affordable. All right, let's completely switch gears. Section 3, tech, luxury, and speed. We are jumping straight to the absolute bleeding edge now. And it brings up this massive question that literally everyone in the auto industry is agonizing over. Who actually rules the premium EV market right now? Is it the established Western pioneers or these hyper-innovative Eastern challengers? Let's look at this direct showdown. The Tesla Model 3 is still an absolute powerhouse, right? It offers a fantastic 600 kilometers of range, that industry-leading autopilot software, and blazing fast 250 kilowatt charging capabilities. It's been the benchmark for performance and brand value for years. But then, wow, look at the NIO ET5. This Chinese premium EV pushes the range up to a staggering 700 kilometers. pairs it with an absolutely gorgeous luxury interior, and pumps out 483 horsepower. It is a true heavyweight bout between Western software dominance and Eastern luxury innovation. But here's the thing, the NIO ET5 has this completely wild hidden trick up its sleeve, and it's called battery swap technology. Basically, instead of pulling up to a charger, plugging in, and killing 30 to 40 minutes playing on your phone, you just pull into a swap station. Automated machinery drops your empty battery right out of the bottom of the car and bolts a fully charged one in its place. Boom, you are back on the road in minutes. For luxury buyers who value their time above literally everything else, this fundamentally revolutionizes the whole EV experience. Now, if you are more of a traditionalist and prefer to plug in, you absolutely need to know about the 800-volt platform. This is the advanced electrical architecture inside cars like the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Most traditional EVs run on 400-volt systems. By doubling the voltage, the Ioniq 5 can handle ultra-fast charging speeds of up to 240 kilowatts without overheating the wiring. For tech lovers, it is an absolute dream come true. So what does that 800-volt tech actually mean in the real world on a road trip? 18. That is the magic number. It takes the Hyundai Ioniq 5 just 18 minutes to charge from 10% all the way up to 80%. Just 18 minutes. I mean, you barely have enough time to grab a coffee and run to the restroom before this futuristic, spacious EV is completely ready to hit the highway again. Let's bring it back to earth a little bit with Section 4, the reliable all-rounders. These next cars are for the highly practical drivers out there, the folks looking for balanced performance or established reliability rather than just raw, face-melting speed. When we look at what these all-rounders actually deliver on the road, the Toyota bZ4X leads the pack in pure distance with about 500 kilometers of range. The emerging VinFast VF8 sits right in the middle at 470 kilometers, and the BYD Atto 3 clocks in at 420 kilometers. But as we all know, range isn't the only metric that matters. Every single one of these brings a really unique competitive advantage to your driveway. Let's zero in on the BYD Atto 3 for a second, because our source actually names this the best overall EV in Asia. And honestly, it makes total sense. It perfectly balances performance, build quality, and affordability. You get roughly 420 kilometers of range from a 60 kilowatt-hour battery, all wrapped up in a super comfortable, practical SUV design. Plus, remember, BYD is a world-leading battery maker, so the core technology here is incredibly robust. It might not win any fast-charging races, but the pure value for money here is virtually unbeatable. On the other hand, we have this fascinating split in the category. The Toyota bZ4X brings that legendary, safe, established Toyota engineering and ride comfort. It's for the buyer who wants exactly zero surprises. It charges a bit slower than its Korean rivals, but it's built like an absolute tank. Conversely, the VinFast VF8 is totally for the early adopter. This emerging brand is offering super competitive pricing and great warranties to build trust and presence over in Asia. Since it's a newer platform, the software is still kind of evolving, but it is a really bold alternative to the legacy automakers. All right, the moment of truth. Section 5, the final verdict. We've covered the budget commuters, the luxury powerhouses, and the dependable daily drivers. And here is your ultimate cheat sheet for the 2026 Asian EV market. We have synthesized all the data so you can see exactly how these models stack up, from the insane 240 kilowatt charging speed of the Ioniq 5 to the massive 700 kilometer range of the NIO ET5, all the way to the strictly low-speed city focus of the Wuling Air. You can clearly see how the raw specs perfectly align with those specific best for use cases we've been talking about. And that leaves us with our definitive list of winners. Drum roll, please. For best overall, balancing every single metric beautifully, it goes to the BYD Atto 3. If you want the best tech and the absolute fastest charging, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 takes the crown. For best budget, it's actually a split between the incredibly accessible Tata Nexon EV and that super fun MG4 hatchback. The best luxury experience, driven by crazy range and that sci-fi battery swap tech, goes to the NIO ET5. And finally, for maneuvering the tightest urban environments, the best city EV is the ultra-cheap Wuling Air EV. Which leaves us with a pretty massive, provocative thought to chew on. We are watching a region rapidly deploy 1,000-plus kilometer ranges, 18-minute charging times, and instant battery swaps, all while actively driving prices down. The Asian market isn't just catching up anymore. You could argue it's setting the new global standard. So if this is what 2026 looks like in Asia, what will the rest of the world be forced to drive next just to keep up? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it helped you wrap your head around this completely fascinating market.